1 minute left here. All right, I will call this regularly scheduled meeting to order if you'll join in the salute to our nation's flag. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call and declarations of conflicts of interest, please.
Councilmember Abram? Here and none. Councilmember Bixel? Councilmember Moniz? Vice Mayor Franco?
Here and none.
And Mayor Bublak.
Here and none, thank you. Approval of agenda as posted or amended.
I move that we would move item 8B to right after public hearing, or public comment, in order to accommodate one of the presenters.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Abram? Yes. Vice Mayor Franco?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak.
Yes, passes 3-0. Thank you for that. All right, and now we have some fun stuff going on here, so. Judy Clerk in the way. Okay. Somebody's retiring from the fire department. Come on up here. Dang it. Fire Captain Saldivar. We don't want you to go. You sure? 960? 960? All right. In honor of your retirement, whereas Fire Captain Francisco Salvador started his career as a full-time engineer for the city of Turlock on October 16th, 1991, and was promoted to the rank of Fire Captain on January 2010. He was named Firefighter of the Year in 2013 and received Turlock Fire Department's Customer Service Award on multiple occasions for his efforts through the Random Acts of Kindness and Santa Truck Program and the Pink T-shirt program for the cancer. Over the course of his tenure with the city of Turlock, Fire Captain Saldivar has served more than 25 years as Turlock Fire Department's lead of the Personal Protective Equipment, PPE, committee, and was instrumental in the development of a standardized spec for instructional and wildlife PPE that protects our membership to date. He served as a president of the Turlock Firefighters Local 2434 Association from 2004 through 2008, and conscientiously served the city of Turlock and its citizens for over 32 years. He's honorably retired from his position as of, which you said, sorry, too late, September 30th, 2023, and has performed consistently to the best of his ability during his tenure with the city of Turlock. The City Council, by this recognition, wishes to express its greatest appreciation to Fire Captain for meritorious service, loyalty, and dedication to the city of Turlock. So on behalf of the council, myself, and all of our community, we want to thank you for such a well job, and we wish you well on whatever it is that you wish to do.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Council, for the presentation. I really appreciate it, and as well, I really like it. It was really well written. But you know what? Even though all the comments that were written on this, you know, it's a team effort. There's a lot of personnel that you really rely on. You really do. Even though, you know, my name's on a couple of these items and stuff that we've done, but it takes a lot of people to make it happen and stuff. So I really rely on our local firefighters that really support these issues and help us run our fundraisers that we do in our community. You know, it's been a great 32 years. I love it. I wouldn't ask for a different career in my life, really. I appreciate Mr. Steve Kite for hiring me years ago. He was, yeah, I know. Does anybody remember Steve Kite? Okay, see, there you go. I appreciate him giving me the opportunity to get hired here in the city of Turlock. I had 8 years somewhere else before I got hired here. You know, I will tell you a little story, okay? When I first started in the fire service, I had met my wife, which she's sitting over there. We were dating at the time, and she was telling her father, you know, you know, what I was going to be doing. Who is he? What does he do? Things like that. And so she says, well, you know, right now he doesn't really have a job. He's applying for this job, and it looks like he's going to get it. And so if I was in his shoes, I probably would have said no, right? You know, but I'm lucky that he gave me the opportunity because we've been married almost 40 years coming next year and stuff. So, but it's been great. 2 wonderful kids that we've raised in our community. My wife just retired June 1st. She's a kindergarten teacher in Hilmar. She did almost 30 years working out there. She loved her career. Our daughter actually took her class, took her classroom, took her position. Yeah, so now she's a kindergarten teacher doing the same thing. We get a lot of phone calls at night. Give her some advice. What do you need to do? Things like that, yeah. What do you got to do next? Who do you need to talk to? Things like that. So, but that's who we rely on. We rely on our people who are retired and give them some direction, give them some, what do we need to do? What needs to change? What needs to be done? And things like that's what the fire service or the police service is all about, is helping our community and stuff. So anyway, appreciate the council. And just one more thing, we just got back from a cruise, so we had a really good time. We really enjoyed it. My wife today, she goes, I feel like still on the cruise. I feel like when I'm walking, I'm kind of like side to side. I go, do you get that feeling? I go, no, I'm always like that. So, but anyway. Oh yeah. So I got to watch out what I'm eating because she's now home with me and we eat together all day, and so we got to keep ourselves going and keep ourselves active. So anyway, thank you, council. Thank you, community. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come.
And the secondary one here is Law Enforcement Records and Support Personnel Day. Do we have anybody who wants to come up here and be honored? Come on, did anybody come? Yeah, besides Amanda? Okay, come on, young lady, she's doing it. You're representing? They're all, did you tell them about the dinner we're gonna have? Man. Whereas law enforcement agencies throughout the state depend upon law enforcement records and support personnel to provide them with vital services. Law enforcement records and support personnel are essential in helping law enforcement agencies uphold our missions to keep our community safe. These professionals continually use their expertise and experience to assist in tracking felons, maintaining criminal statistics, record keeping, and improving apprehension strategies. It is important to recognize California law enforcement records and support personnel for their valuable contributions to our law enforcement system. Our law enforcement records and support personnel serve our residents daily in countless ways. The work of these professional and dedicated staff members is invaluable in the public safety mission, and each of these dedicated men and women deserve our heartfelt appreciation. Now, therefore, I, Amy Bublak, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor, on behalf of all of the council and all of our community, do proclaim Law Enforcement Records and Support Personnel Day in the city of Turlock. You would like to speak?
Just really quickly, I have the privilege of overseeing our records unit, so I get to work with these individuals daily. I can tell you firsthand how hard they work to support our police department and our community. So I appreciate their work every single day, and I will happily accept this proclamation on their behalf. So thank you.
Mr. Sims.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and members of the public. This past year, the City of Turlock partnered with Stanislaus Equity Partners to host a 6-month micro-business development cohort, which took place here in Turlock. The cohort consisted of entrepreneurs and small businesses within the food industry. They met once per month for 6 months. Each session hosted different presenters and provided business resources and strategies to help these entrepreneurs and small businesses grow their business. At the end of the 6-month cohort, there was a Shark Tank style pitch contest. Tonight, we have a brief presentation summarizing the micro business development program. From Stanislaus Equity Partners, we have Ms. Maria Hernandez and Anais Madrigal here. And during the presentation, we also have the pitch contest winner, Chef Mason, cooking his pitch contest winning shrimp scampi.
good evening, all. My name is Maria Hernandez,
And I am Anaís Madrigal.
and that is Chef Mason, our 2023 pitch competition winner for our Micro Business Development Hub cohort, and his beautiful wife, Jasmine, there. So today we are going to present on the small business services of Stanislaus Equity Partners. We're a community development corporation with the mission to empower Stanislaus residents with access to asset building opportunities through housing, small business services, and affordable lending. So today we are here to present on the small business development department side. Our objective for the department is to assist the development of small and micro businesses in Stanislaus County through networking and accessing relevant resources and opportunities. So we're able to meet that objective through providing technical assistance, access to capital, and access to networks. So the strategies and services that we provide are within the Micro Business Development Hub cohorts, the connections and referrals and one-on-one technical assistance for small business development. And our focus this evening is on this year's English cohort, which we hosted here in the city of Turlock. So our 2023 English cohort was made possible through a partnership with the city of Turlock and Stanislaus Equity Partners. We held it at the Hampton Inn on, I believe, Lander Avenue, which was generously provided by the city. The cohort, as Anthony Sims mentioned, the cohort lasted 6 months with a session gathering each month. Each month there was a different speaker in a different section of just business fundamentals. They learned about a business plan, business strategy, business permitting, marketing and communication, QuickBooks, financial planning, and a lot more. And it soon's gonna start smelling really good in here. So during the cohort held here in Turlock, our demographics were as follows. We had, in the beginning, we had almost 23, but as the month started, we did lose a little bit of momentum, but we had 11 participants graduate. We had male, female, mostly a BIPOC community, and minority business owners or entrepreneurs. The industries that these small business owners, entrepreneurs were in were food, construction, education, photography, and also a nonprofit organization that just wanted to learn what the basic business fundamentals were. So we are really thankful for the partnership that we had here with the city of Turlock. Again, Anthony Sims has been incredible. He helped us provide the location for our cohorts and also for our pitch competition, which was at the beautiful Carnegie Art Center. It was an incredible venue, and that's where Chef Mason was able to do what he's doing now. But what he was doing was cooking and also giving us his pitch. So that was really hard, and that's maybe why he won. But yeah, so we want to explore how we can partner again in the upcoming years, upcoming cohorts, and how we can continue to serve the residents of Turlock. Because as we know, Modesto is usually where a lot of the things are happening. We are located in Modesto, but we are hoping to connect with you guys and partner in bringing a cohort again next year here. It could be maybe a Spanish one as well, because we do English and Spanish cohorts, or setting up a satellite office here as well, so we can have business hours and our team can come and help the small business owners or entrepreneurs in your community to connect them to the resources, connect them to the community. We want to be that helping hand that allows people to just be like, because a lot of our entrepreneurs that we see is they want somebody to guide them. We're actually working on a plan right now to do like an ecosystem of all the small business providers in our county or in our communities, in our cities, and we'll be like, this is step one. Once you have that idea, this is the person you need to connect with. And if you don't want to connect with them, we'll be happy to go with you and kind of hold their hand and show them the ropes and just do that warm handoff. So with that, we'd like to show a recap of our pitch competition, which was held here again in the Carnegie Art Center late August. Our cohort participants had the chance to compete for a cash prize for their business needs. This competition is held after each cohort to allow our participants to present their business ideas and or needs in front of the judges and audiences. So they gain support, practice, and confidence to promote their business during the event and to potential investors. So congrats again to Chef Mason for winning this year's cohort and pitch competition and being such an inspiration to us all. His food is amazing. We've actually hired him for our 2-year anniversary for San Jose Equity Partners and had an incredible spread. And we're just so excited to see how he grows. And I don't know if you want to say a little something now or.
Yeah, I'll say something. So this is a lot easier than it was for the actual pitch competition. For the pitch competition, I was cooking the whole time as well as presenting, along with my wife. So pretty much I made a shrimp scampi as I was speaking about how the cohort helped grow my business and how I was able to get it going. So that was really fun and interesting. But for me, it's a little easier as I'm cooking as well as I'm talking. Because if my hands are moving, I'm not fidgeting, I'm not rocking back side to side. But I just made a simple scampi. As you can see, I put garlic, wine, salt, some Italian seasoning. I finished it off with some butter as of right now. That's gonna make it a little creamy. Turn off the heat. Add my lemon juice. I don't know if you guys can smell it or not. Yeah. If I would have known it would be this many people, I probably would have brought another burner and a lot more shrimp. You know what I mean? But these are jumbo prawns, 13, 15. So that means 13 to 15 shrimp per pound. So these are the big boys, you know. So, like I said, I wish I could have brought some more, but unfortunately, I brought this. But when it comes to our business, we're a husband and wife team that prepare meals, and the cohort really helped us in providing us with resources that we needed so that we could continue to grow and scale our business, but at the same time just align us with the community. So it was very encouraging to be able to talk to our other participants. We were going through some of the same things when it came to scaling our business, and we were all able to lean upon each other to continue to grow. So we really appreciated the cohort, and obviously a lot of those relationships that we built within the cohort, you know, we were able to continue to, we're able to continue to reach out now if we have questions or if we need support. So thank you for putting on the cohort, and we really enjoyed ourselves with that.
And can you leave us some business cards so we can make sure that we call you when we need our private chefs for our for our parties?
Yes, I will.
Wow. Holy smokes.
Get really personal and technical. I like it.
And then also lastly, before we show you the video of our pitch competition, we just wanted to give an extra special thank you to Anthony Sims. He was just always such a joy to work with, very friendly, and he was definitely a key component in us being able to see this through, and especially here in such a wonderful city as Turlock is, which I might be a little bit biased, but it's my favorite. So thank you so much, Anthony, once again, and City of Turlock. Thank you for partnering with us, and hopefully it's one of many more to come.
Heck yeah.
All right, so let's see if this video starts playing.
So unfair.
And that was our video. You'll see it on our social media soon. We just wanted, this is the first time we actually presented to the public, so you guys got the first view of that. And we recorded it again, or we held it at the Carnegie Arts Center, which is an incredible venue. And we're just excited to hopefully partner again with the city and see how many more businesses we can help, and just connect them to resources out there. But yeah, that is pretty much our presentation. Please let us know if you guys have any questions or comments.
Thank you for the opportunity to hear this and to see this. I wasn't able to go, so Vice Mayor went the first
Yes.
time, so I'm
Yes.
thankful for this. You did talk about just having maybe once a week or something, having somewhere in Turlock. I maybe ask the chamber, they have a lot of room there, and they might be able to help you with that.
Yeah. That is a great idea.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. All right. They can't. All right. Unmet transit needs, just gonna fall a little bit off of this. Sorry.
Great. Well, thank you for having me here tonight. I appreciate it. My name is Jean Folletta, and I'm the Director of Mobility Programs for the Stanislaus Council of Governments. We're the Metropolitan Planning Organization and the RTPA, or Regional Transportation Planning Organization, for the county. And with that, we have members of the cities and the County Board of Supervisors that help us guide decisions for StanCog, and we would like to say thank you to Vice Mayor Pam Franco with all the hard work that she's done on behalf of StanCog. So as we said, I'm talking to you tonight about this StanCog unmet transit needs process. It's an annual process that we're required to do by law each year. And it's, some of the requirements are, we have to have a public hearing, we have to do some outreach, we have to determine if there are unmet transit needs that are reasonable to meet, and then prepare a report. And one of the biggest components of this unmet needs process is really getting out into the community. Therefore, this is why we're here today, to let people know that we're actually want to engage the public and listen to things that they feel that we could do better in regards to transit. We'll be having one of our requirements met tomorrow night, because we will be taking this to our policy board tomorrow evening for a public hearing, which we'll have in both English and Spanish. So this slide just goes over our schedule. Again, I wanted just to note that it's a very long period of time. You can see that it started in September and goes all the way into March of 2024. And that's because throughout the whole process, again, we're reaching out to the public. We've done the outreach, which as I indicated, is pretty much wrapping up. Then we do put together a draft analysis report that goes to a series of different standing committees at StanCog, and then goes through a 30-day public comment period, and then comes back to our policy board for adoption. So again, throughout the process, we're reaching out to the public to make sure that we're getting any of the unmet transit needs or any ideas from the public that we can. This slide shows something we did a little bit differently this year. We took a team approach to maximize the outreach efforts. And so that was in coordination with the city of Turlock and Wayne for the transit, Stan RTA, and MOVE, which is the Consolidated Transportation Services Agency for the region. Again, we've been giving presentation to the local boards and other stakeholder groups. We've been doing pop-up events. We had a pop-up event here actually at the Transit Hub a couple of weeks back, and just we're trying to engage riders as they were getting on the bus to, again, hear firsthand from the boots on the ground what people wanted to see in transit. Stan RTA, MOVE, and Turlock have also been continually adding and providing updates to their community as needed. And then lastly, MOVE has been handing out flyers during their travel training process, which they do on all the buses throughout the county. Part of what we wanted to do this year, too, was to make it really easy for people to take this public survey for the unmet transit needs. And so you can see the little guy on there on the picture there, and he has his little QR code. That was given out at the outreach events and was on the buses, things like that, and it made it really easy, especially for the younger folks that can take that, scan it in, and take the whole survey in like 2 seconds. Not me, but they can. We did social media and posted all this on our neighbor partnering agencies, including Turlock. So what's next for us? Right now, what we're gonna do is start compiling the comments at the end of the month. We need to establish if there's any comments that are reasonable to meet, and I'll go over that in just one moment. We'll prepare a draft analysis report and present it to the policy board. And once all this is done, then the TDA, Transportation Development Act funds for the local transportation funds can then be distributed. So, I'm not gonna read this out loud to you, but this is, Stancog's definition of, what a met transit need is. And so, reasonable to meet or not reasonable to meet, many times we receive comments from, folks that I want a bus from Turlock to, Modesto every hour. Well, you probably already have that, but they're just not aware that they have it. So you see that a lot. Sometimes you'll see, the one I always say, because I love MOVE, is you'll see comments made from, in this particular case, a group of senior citizens that in 2010 came together and said we needed a door-through-door transportation service. And that is how actually MOVE was started. So that's a met transit need that is reasonable to meet. So that concludes my presentation, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Do you
I
have
appreciate
shrimp,
it.
scampi?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jean.
All right. Next, we have public participation. This time set aside 3 minutes for members of the public to directly address the city council on any item of interest to the public that is within the subject matter jurisdiction. I do have some cards here. John, you're first.
John Gibbeline, 1891 Linda Vista Street. The one thing, we're going to have rain this week, believe it or not. And watering should be shut off tonight. Okay, we waste so much water, at least in my neighborhoods, and over the winter time, and people leaving them on and everything else like that. It's almost no need to not water your anything during the winter after we had a good rain for more than once a month. And I think the flexibility we need is that get rid of the day that we can water, because during the winter time, it doesn't, that's when we get the rain. So, if it's going to rain on Monday and I can only water on Sunday, well, I ain't stupid. I'm not going to water on Sunday and everything else like that. So do a little flexibility on that. Just say, how about water as needed? How about that? Because you guys aren't checking, they're not checking anymore. Who's, what day they're watering or anything else like that. So just do that. That would work. Leaf. This is the time of the year that we get leaf pickup and everything. I love it. This is my favorite time of the year because I'm the crazy old guy that goes around my neighborhood. I have lots of leaves myself, but I go around in my neighborhood in my pickup, and I've got like six cans, garbage cans, and I pick up leaves. I usually do about 35 to 40 cans, and I put those leaves all over my yard. And the reason I put them over, the main reason is that worms, okay? Worms love leaves, and so my whole yard, they love it, they eat it. It keeps the weeds down, keeps the watering down. It's a great mulch, and it's free other than a little bit of work. So it's really good, and you can do it on your lawn. If you weed eat them and throw it on the lawn, you'll get lots of worms. Worms make worm castings, one of the most expensive substances on earth if you've ever had to buy them. And I don't buy them. I just have the worms do the work. Food collection. This is the time of the year that everybody loves to go and collect food and give it to the needy and everything else like that. My biggest problem as someone who has advocates, I give away 400 to 500 pounds of food from my yard. Citrus, apples, oranges, whatever. I have a big yard, and I give it to the Good Samaritan now and everything else like that. So I do a year-round thing. So why don't we do something where everybody, collects food and gives it to some place and whatever. Not just that. The people that get those meals, if they need them now, they need them the day after Christmas, the day after Thanksgiving, January, February, whatever. They still have needs. They're not just hungry on the holidays. Thank you.
Milton, you said that just pull item C from the consent calendar, is that correct?
Yes, but I do have.
Oh, then go ahead.
Now?
Yes, please.
Good evening, Milt Treeweiler. For a brief time in the early to mid 1970s, certain sections of the popular media ran articles describing how we were heading for a renewed ice age. Thomas Patterson and his colleagues did a very good job of exposing all of this nonsense. In a 2008 paper titled The Myth of the 1970s Global Cooling Scientific Consensus, they did what the popular press did not do. They took a look at what was actually going on. Obtaining copies of peer-reviewed papers on climate archived in the collections of Nature and the American Meteorological Society that were published between 1965 and 1979. They examined and rated them. Results showed that despite the media claims, just 10% of the papers by scientists predicted a cooling change. On the other hand, 62% predicted global warming, and 28% made no comments either way. There were some notable cold winters scattered through that time, such as the United Kingdom one in 1962 and 63. As a result of this various events, a few scientists suggested that the current interglacial period could rapidly draw to a close, which might result in the Earth plunging into a new ice age over the next few centuries. We now know that smog that climatologists call aerosols emitted by human activities into the atmosphere cause localized cooling closest to the areas where it originated. Smog consists of a health hazard, and governments acted quickly to clean up this type of pollution. Once largely removed, its effects no longer influence northern hemisphere temperatures, and temperatures have steadily climbed since around the year 1970. It's not getting cooler on our planet or in our city. It's getting warmer and warmer. We all have to do our best to reduce our use of fossil fuels. Rather than supporting a bogus hydrogen production plant in Turlock, we can install more electric vehicle charging stations in our parking lots, at all of our hotels and motels. We need more charging stations in the downtown area, and especially in our industrial areas, for their employees to use. The best time to recharge is in the daytime when the solar power is available. So more charging stations for electric vehicles is what we need here in Turlock. Thank you.
Kriston?
Good evening, Mayor Bublak and Council. Kriston Santos here representing the office of Congressman John Duarte. First off, Gavin Klein, my colleague, would like to express his gratitude to VFW Post 5059 here in Turlock for the opportunity to celebrate the 248th birthday of the United States Marine Corps, and to join Supervisor Chiesa, Mayor Bublak, and Vice Mayor Franco for the VFW's annual Veterans Day dinner. The Congressman spent Veterans Day everywhere from Modesto to Livingston, Merced, and Atwater, participating in ceremonies honoring our nation's veterans for their service and sacrifice. In other news, Congressman Duarte and Congressman Jim Costa recently led a bipartisan effort to ask U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai to engage with Turkey regarding newly imposed retaliatory tariffs on American almonds. 91% of California almonds are grown on family farms. These new tariffs will hurt Valley families, so Congressman Duarte will continue to work with both parties to make sure Washington stands up for our farmers in our valley. With the new speaker now in place, the People's House has been able to get back to work, and the Congressman will continue to advocate for the priorities of working families, including bills such as H.R. 4745, the Delivering for Rural Seniors Act of 2023, of which he was an original co-sponsor, and would establish a pilot grant program to award grants to facilitate home delivery of commodities under the Supplemental Food Program to low-income elderly persons. Another one of the first moves the House has made since electing a new speaker is reaffirming America's support for the State of Israel. Congressman Duarte recently voted for H.R. 6126 to provide Israel with the military aid necessary to stop Hamas's brutality from aggressing any further. We cannot stand by and allow terrorists to attack one of our closest allies in the region. The Congressman believes we must do all we can to help protect Israel and its people. In the past few hours, a continuing resolution vote came to the floor of the House of Representatives, and our office has released the following statement on this vote. Congressman Duarte voted on the continuing resolution to keep our government open and working on behalf of the American people. A government shutdown would have disrupted many federal programs that everyday Americans rely on, including vital services to our nation's veterans. Now we have time to continue our appropriations process through regular order for a fiscally responsible budget that will put our nation back on the right track, free from excessive government spending. I'd like to conclude by wishing everyone in council and this chamber a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Japjit Singh?
Good evening, everyone. Before I say anything else, I just want to say that's one of the dopest sweaters I've seen anywhere. It's the first time I've seen a Cheeto sweater. My name is Japjit. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Livingston. I work at the high school there doing tutoring and advising. I also coach football there. And then I have a position doing research through Fresno State. And I'm getting my master's right now in public policy and public administration. So I've been going around city councils and board of supervisors meetings recently to urge them to advocate for a ceasefire in the Middle East. I don't think our taxpayer dollars should be funding a war that's killing thousands of innocent civilians. And I don't think any of our troops need to die fighting somebody else's war. And so as I've been speaking to electeds, one of the pushbacks that I've gotten is, hey, look, we get the general premise behind what you're saying, but that's just not our jurisdiction. That's not our scope. And we don't want to step out of our lane. I think it's a fair point, and I completely understand the sentiment behind it, right? We're very far away from those things and the people that are making those decisions. I just think whether it's from a local scale or a broader scale, like you guys joined this council because you want to represent the best interest of the people of your city. And even though we can't always directly impact what's going on at a broader scale, we can always advocate for it. Because there's times when there's decisions that are made from that larger scale that affect us, whether directly or indirectly. It could be the war, or it could be the Federal Reserve deciding to raise interest rates to a very high degree, which obviously affects our economy in huge ways. We don't always get to be right next to those decision makers and next to those decisions, but we feel their impacts at times and we feel them hard. Whether that's in Turlock, I'm in Livingston, Merced, Modesto, wherever. I'm pretty tired, and I'm sure you are all as well, of sometimes having to deal with the consequences of those decisions, right? Because even though you didn't make them, things happen a certain way, they come down to you, and now you have to figure out what's the best way to work within Turlock. And even though we can't directly vote on those things, I think in those situations, the best thing we can do, whether it's people or as councils, is to advocate, right? We can use our voices and we can use our platforms. If the congressman sees a letter or an email from me, it's just another 21-year-old kid sending him an email, you know? But I feel like if he sees a formal resolution or a formal statement from a city council, it means a little bit more. It's a little bit different, right? You guys are elected officials. You're in this space. You represent your city. You're here for a reason, right? I think there's a lot of power within your voices and within your platforms. And I'd love to see you guys use it on issues that maybe you can't directly vote on, but that you can advocate for if they're in the best interest of your city. So I kind of just wanted to plant that seed and see what you thought about it. I'll probably be reaching out over email. So it's things that I'm thinking. I'm obviously just getting started here. I have a lot to learn. I'd love to engage. But really kind of just wanted to put that idea out there, see what you thought about it, learn the issues that you guys are working on, and how that could work. Thank you.
Anyone else who did not fill out a card? Yes, come on up, come on up.
I've sat too long. My name is Susie Kelly. I'm getting really concerned. In 1975, I moved here. In the last couple of years, Turlock is going, ooh, downhill. It's not something that a lot of rich people would even want to come to because we're becoming the same city as every other city. You need to be special. You need to change. And first thing up is maybe it's a cleanup act or whatever. But the first thing we need to do is clean up Turlock. And I called 3 times and got City of Turlock to come out and finally do the weeds that I didn't know were sitting there so long. And the trash always comes because I'm at the corner and I'm always picking up or whatever. And it's like they don't have enough help. So I want to congratulate the City of Turlock, the PG&E, the policemen, the firemen. They do great jobs. And they're working harder now than they ever have before. I think it was a mistake to say building homelessness around here because who wants to come to a city that you're going to have to go over and over, pay, and keep this thing going? When I walk to Walmart or whatever, I'm out there, and the people with dogs, people that are homeless, I don't think they should have any dogs at all. It's cruel to the animal. And I saw the guy stand there, and he just drops trash. City workers don't want to pick up that trash from homelessness. And I just think that we need to change Turlock like a Pleasanton, where, and I haven't been there, but it's like a rich little town. They don't put up with things. Money doesn't buy cleanliness. I think even if you send a letter just saying, because it won't cost money, except for the letter maybe and the stamps, saying we want Turlock to clean up their act. Gated communities, they're always nice. Regular homes, you got to put up with, you might have a nice home, but you've got to put up with your neighbor that leaves it dumpy. And I think, I don't care what your backyard looks like, but I have now for the last, my dog passed away in October 14th, and I'm taking my other one now, really walking them at the college, and I'm picking up trash from that area to the college. And I go every day, and I'm picking up trash, and every day there's new trash. People just drop their cups. They don't care. No respect. We're getting too many crimes over here in Turlock, and the hitting the light poles. If you haven't seen that, where the cars are just running into the lights that you guys have spent a lot of money on, you know. So I just wish that we could make Turlock different from every other town, that you attract people instead of saying, no, I wouldn't move there. Because I even went down the wrong street, and like my, you know, our roads, I've lived there 30 years in my house right now, and I love my house, but the roads are cracking, the streets are cracking. Well, even if you do the streets with an old house, you're going to give that house an uplift.
Thank you.
And people go backwards in life.
Ma'am.
When you let yourself go
Your time's
dumpy, you
Thank
do
you.
go backwards. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Curtis?
We got a brand new road, and there's this guy that does donuts. He's tearing the heck up out of our road, and I don't know what to do.
What road?
Flower and West Main. I live at 709 Flower Street, and that big old intersection that's right there. He's just thinks it's a little racetrack.
Okay. Sergeant Parmley in the back, will you have a conversation with him outside, and he can try and figure out what
Yeah, we
what car
talked
it is?
earlier about it.
Okay, so he knows which car it is that you see?
No, but he's told me to call a number.
Okay, cool.
So,
All right.
thank you.
You bet. We don't want those roads getting messed up. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm gonna go up there.
Good evening. Okay, so I want to quickly address the honorary street name action taken at the last council meeting. So I researched what some of the other cities, what their policies are for this. For example, city council may name sections of streets not exceeding 1 block in length in honor and recognition of individuals or organizations that have made significant contributions to improving the quality of life in the city. Contrasting, this council approved a 1 mile section instead of a 1 block section. Next slide. Requires planning commission review and recommendation, and petitioner must include a statement regarding the public purpose to be accomplished. Okay, planning commission did not review this, and I did not hear any public purpose to be accomplished being stated. Next slide. Honorary street name requests require the signatures of 75% of the property owners on the section of the street being requested for the honor. This was not done. Next slide, please. The purpose is to commemorate the service, lives, and achievements of individuals, philanthropic groups of individuals, or a landmark event affiliated with the city where the individuals or event has had significant and clearly defined cultural, humanitarian, or historic impact on the city. Next slide, please. I believe that we have multiple excellent examples here in Turlock, one of which is Dr. Marion Collins, his wife Chrissy, daughter Linda, and the Medic Alert Foundation they founded. In the 1950s, after his daughter Linda suffered a near-fatal allergic reaction, Dr. Marion Collins had the idea for a medical alert system, and with his wife Christy, created the first Medic Alert ID bracelet. Next slide. They developed the nonprofit Medic Alert Foundation in their home in Turlock and spent their own money to promote global recognition of the Medic Alert symbol. Even after Dr. Collins' passing, his wife and daughter carried on the foundation's work, which has been credited with saving hundreds of thousands of lives worldwide and counting. Next slide. Honoring this doctor, his wife and daughter, and the Medic Alert Foundation, in my opinion, is long overdue and certainly qualifies for an honorary street name. This is what I think should be held up as a standard to be met when any honorary street names are proposed. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Okay, we will close public participation at this time and move to item 8B, which is authorizing the city manager to enter into agreement with Community Health Centers of America to continue the pilot program for a second year. Mr. Laura?
Mayor, can I make an announcement before we start?
Absolutely.
On the item? The public will notice we have 3 council members present tonight, so Government Code Section 36936 requires a recorded majority vote of the legislative body for any action to pass. So what that means is this is for resolutions, ordinances, and orders for the payment of money. So in English, what that means is there would have to be a 3-0 vote on matters that are resolutions, ordinances, or orders for the payment of money. 2-1 votes, which would be okay for some sort of motion or minute order action, but for those aforementioned items, it would have to be all 3 council members attending would have to vote for it.
Okay. Mr. Laura?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. This time last year, you approved a resolution to enter an agreement for a 1-year pilot program to provide portable medical and behavioral health services here in the city of Turlock. We're coming up to the end of that 1 year. It ends December 31st. So action item 8B before you tonight is a request to enter into another agreement excuse me, with Community Health Centers of America for a second year to extend the pilot program to provide these services in Turlock. Joining us here tonight, I have Jeffrey Lewis with Legacy Health Endowment, and also Nareesh out in the back with Community Health Centers of America. Mr. Lewis is going to provide a presentation on the end of the year report for this program and also go into a little more detail with the recommendation. Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me go earlier, but for trying to stay somewhat healthy. Okay. So we established the project a year ago. Legacy Health Endowment is partnering with Community Health Centers of America on the mobile health program. One of the important keys to the program is we're asking for second-year funding. At the end of the second-year funding, it is expected that Community Health Centers of America will have an open clinic in Turlock, fully operational clinic, likely to be on Gear Road in Christopherson, right? Where the public will be able to come. For people who can afford to pay, they'll pay. If you can't afford to pay, it'll be free. It's one of those kinds of clinics. So it continues with the same approach we've used for mobile health services. The mobile health program has used its resources to provide both telehealth services, in-person health services, behavioral health services, vaccinations, whatever the person walks into that particular clinic. So this is a schedule that it started in January, and it goes through, this is through October. The one thing you'll note in October that we changed locations from Monte Vista Chapel to Turlock Unified School District at the Family Resource Center to attract more Turlock residents. I'm delighted to say the first stop had almost 60 people show up. Dr. Singh, who is the chief operating officer, is typically the physician, the nurse practitioner in charge. And it is now part of the ongoing rotation. So it helps Turlock Unified School District parents, and more importantly, it provides another vehicle. We've also used United Samaritans Foundation, the Gospel Mission, both of whom have successful locations. The patient population varies by month. Sometimes it's 16 patients, sometimes it's 30, and sometimes, like we had in Turlock, it's close to 60. It varies by the degree of the weather and also by the seasons in terms of allergies, flu, etc., people like me who get sick. The kinds of patients you see will range from pediatric to geriatric, people who have not had access to healthcare services or people who cannot get in to see their own doctor. Typically, people who can't see their doctor, it's a 3-month wait. They need help today. They come to these clinics, and it's been very successful. Just some examples of the kinds of people who've been helped. The International Refugee Committee participates in this. We have a site there. We've assisted with a number of their patients, but let me just give you a couple of examples. At one stop, an immigrant child, there were 10 who came from Afghanistan or Mexico. They came, Dr. Singh was there, and because of his intervention at being in the clinic, this child was assisted immediately, referred for an MRI, and a severe problem, which would have become life-threatening, was stopped. That was worth more than anything that we've done at any point in time. To make sure that child was alive, the family had hope, and the family has medicine now. The program provides access to medications through our $2 generic program or $2 insulin program. Again, if the family can't afford the medication, it's free. There's no financial barrier in this program. 25 TUSD students who got physicals through the program. They've helped both the uninsured and underinsured to make sure that they get access to services. No person is ever turned away, whether they have insurance or they don't. There's a wonderful picture of Dr. Singh, handsome-looking guy that he is. The languages that are spoken are English, Spanish, and Punjabi. Again, the services are free. Primary care services range from telemental health services to primary basic care and basic sick care that the person might need. Walk-ins are welcome. You can make appointments by calling a specific number. We had 9 participating locations in 2023. We made some changes to that because of the number of people who wanted to go elsewhere, particularly the Turlock Unified School District. Let me compliment my colleague, Allie Jeffrey of our staff, who has been instrumental in coordinating all this, but for her, this would not happen. So she deserves lots of credit. And here's the schedule for the remainder of October, November, and December. One of the things that we're also doing are vaccination clinics. The way the Community Health Centers of America has designed their vaccine clinics is that it's often an incentive is offered to get people vaccinated. So if you want a flu vaccine or a COVID vaccine or an RSV vaccine, oftentimes they'll receive a $25 gift card. It's at no expense to the city. It's part of the program that Community Health Centers utilizes to give back to the community to incentivize people for public health purposes to get vaccinated. Let me take any or all questions.
Questions for Mr. Lewis?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Lewis, and thank you, Dr. Singh, for the work that you're doing. You know, the individual patient stories obviously show the value that's happening here, but the numbers, I think, show that it's been a little bit underutilized, and so I'm curious if you could go through what kind of the barriers are and how those will be overcome in the future.
So in any mobile program, regardless of where it is in the United States, usage depends on people who, at that point in time, decide they want care. So for example, we could be at the gospel mission, we could have 25 or 50 people signed up, and you might have 18 people actually show up. That's that's the first barrier. Second barrier is if it's raining outside, people don't show up. It's like voting. You know, if there's an excuse, I don't feel that bad, I don't show up. We utilize every form of social media in multiple languages. They've been doing more and more of that very successfully. They're giving people access by telehealth visits as well to increase access. The numbers grow sometimes depending on the weather and sometimes shrink because of the weather. I wish I could tell you there's a magic bullet, because if there was, we would have already done it. There's not. But I can tell you that in terms of a return on investment, the lives that have been saved, the lives that have been treated, the kids that have been obtained services that wouldn't have otherwise received services, many of these people who they see in the clinics would have been in hospital emergency rooms. The gospel clinic where they saw a couple of women, I believe, who were very sick, who didn't have to leave the gospel mission, who got treatment there, and who were able to recover there, which is an enormous help. The people who come, an employee of WeCare, for example, or at United Samaritan's Foundation, who didn't have access to his medications because the prescription ran out. He saw Dr. Singh, wrote a new prescription, he was taken care of, back on his chronic disease medication. Stayed employed, stayed healthy. So these are the kinds of stories that you see. One of the reasons we went to Turlock Unified, at Allie's recommendation, was to see more people. So as we get to more schools, and because it's a mobile clinic, it's flexible, it's nimble, it can move around. You can serve more people. If the Family Resource Center wants us to go to another school, they simply pick up and move to another school.
Other questions?
Yes, so regarding the funding for this program, are there other funding sources that the city has evaluated, aside from the COVID relief funds that we're being asked to allocate for this?
At this time, the primary source that we've looked at is ARPA funding. This is a question that you had asked prior to the meeting. And so during the budget development process, that is something that we would take a deeper dive into in terms of future funding for this program. As I stated before, if this item is approved, there'll be, excuse me, roughly $2 million left in the ARPA account. And we also have a grant coordinator that we'll be working with to look and see what type of grants we can find.
Let me just add something to what Paul's saying. We received for our long-term care program a $125,000 congressional appropriation. I'm back in DC the week of December 4th, talking about mobile health care. So our grant writers, this team we use back there, are also focused on the feds in terms of what the federal government agencies may be offering, looking for ways to supplement this, so that if we can obtain additional federal funds, we can reduce what we're getting from the city of Turlock. So very conscious of, to your point, of spending those dollars on other things. We're right in target with you.
Are any other cities doing this, or is this something that's just unique to Turlock? Are we one of the first?
My master's thesis in 1975 was somewhere database in Arkansas where they did mobile health care. It's been going on for years across the country. Everybody does something. For example, we're partnering, Legacy Health Endowment is partnering with the University of the Pacific. We will be giving a substantial grant because they're developing a mobile dental program. So we will be able to bring mobile dental services to the city of Turlock for residents for free. Nice. So, it depends on those kinds of service. And we're in conversations with a optometrist to look at ways in which we can bring optometry services to kids, particularly Medi-Cal kids.
But in Stanislaus County, we're
We're
We're unique.
they have mobile
We're unique.
nursing programs that other programs use, but there's nothing as unique as what Community Health
doing here.
Centers of America is doing.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, so with the additional funding, you'll be adding additional services such as opening up the clinic on gear and
Yeah, but that's,
Christofferson.
yes, the goal is to have the gear clinic open
Right.
by the end of 2024. It has nothing to do with the dollars for this program.
How many additional people are you guys expecting? How are you going to go out there and
So we.
inform more people of this service?
Well, based on the numbers we saw from Turlock Unified Family Resource Center, we expect to see that on an ongoing basis, whether it's there or elsewhere.
Word of mouth helps.
A lot of it's word of mouth. A lot of it is traumatorist programs and other ethnic groups that talk about these things. Again, we use sort of multiple approaches to educating people about these things. And a lot of it does come down to word of mouth. But the success stories, we get a newspaper story where the Turlock Journal writes a story about this, it gets out. Where the Modesto Bee writes a story, people take notice. And, I can say that the nice part about this is my phone rings constantly for people looking for behavioral health services and primary care services. So Dr. Singh and I have an ongoing texting program going. Here's a person, will you please call them? Well, the great part about Dr. Singh is, unlike other physicians who are tied up and they've got 50 patients. He's got 50 patients, but he also has a phone where he keeps texting people or calling people. You won't find a more responsive medical care provider than Dr. Singh.
And then you do 3 different languages, so English, Spanish, and Punjab.
Right.
Any others that you think we need to add as time goes on?
Farsi, if there was a call for that. Hmong in terms of the Hmong population. But right now, it's predominantly Punjabi and Spanish in particular.
Director Lord, you spoke of TUSD, or someone did. Have you asked them if they're willing to put some money into this?
We have not, no. That's,
Sounds like they
that's a
might be
great
able
idea.
to.
Yeah, so,
I think it's a really wonderful question, but I would not suggest asking TUSD for money. I think TUSD's budget in terms of its educational services and other needs that they're providing are stretched. And we would hope that they can use those dollars for this. These healthcare dollars are targeted to people who are really in need. And the other thing that we'd like to do is that, for example, TUSD has a closet for kids of all ages who need supplies. It may range from deodorant to toothpaste to feminine products. We just gave a grant over there to supply the closet to help with that as well. And we do free sports physicals for them too.
Any other questions? Okay, let's open it to the public. Anyone wishing to speak?
Yes, I think searching for additional funding sources is something that we ought to do. Question I have is, a lot of this sounds great, okay? But I think a lot of this is really in the county's kind of bailiwick in terms of medical services and behavioral health and other stuff like that. So have we approached the county and tried to get funding from them? The school district's budget is much larger than the city's budget. Maybe they could put a little bit more emphasis on the health care of their students rather than, what is it, diversity, equity, and inclusion? Okay. Vaccines, being able to do that is important. I really object to the COVID. Because as we all know, the evidence is that some of us knew about from the beginning, but it's becoming clearer and clearer that there's a lot of damage that's being done by the COVID vaccine. I just hate to see city money being used to promote that, especially with children. I will refer to Dr. Fauci's statements in October of 2019 when they were talking about, this is, you can see this on C-SPAN. It was a conference where they were talking about new, instead of the egg-based vaccines, using mRNA type of vaccines. And he said that if we're going to transition from one to the other, we're going to need at least 10 years worth of testing, if everything goes well, to really prove that it's effective and safe before it can be used. So I'll leave it as that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll close public comment and bring it back. Director Lohr, if we were to find, presuming that this could pass right now, if we found that the county was willing to give one of their $1 billion reserve to us to cover some of the costs, then we would just take part of that away from this, or?
We can bring it back and modify this, the resolution.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
What is the will of council?
Move to approve.
I will second, but I have some comments before we go on to this. I am personally very torn on this item. On the one hand, Dr. Singh, Legacy Health, Mobile Clinic, you guys are doing great work. There is no, number you can put to the healthcare and lives that you're saving. I personally and professionally know how important it is for people to get affordable healthcare, and the damage to lives when patients do not have access to that. On the other hand, though, I am, it's really encouraging to see that TUSD, those stops have been really fruitful. But on the other hand, I'm really concerned about the funding for this, especially seeing as I don't think that in the first 9 months we've got as much utilization out of it as I would have hoped for the price tag. And seeing as that we're being asked to use COVID relief dollars, I feel like it's really our duty to use those in our community for a long-term impact. So in this current form, I am not going to be able to be on board, but I would like to make an alternate motion, or do you want to have the first one go through?
You rescind yours?
I'll rescind mine.
If we can, I would like to have an alternate motion for a contract for 6 months in a form approved by the city attorney, and then to seek out other funding sources for the additional time.
Can I just ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
Would the funding be half of what's proposed tonight?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Lewis, can you do it in parameters such as that, or is it?
Yeah, it's not a problem. I mean, I would prefer 12 months of funding, but the reality is, let's take the 6 months, increase the numbers. I wanted to also explain to the audience that anything done for COVID at TUSD is done by the County Department of Public Health, not by us.
Okay, so we have a motion?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Abra?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Franco?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, it passes with a 3-0. All right, thank you, too. All right, motion waiving readings of all ordinances on the agenda except by title.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Abra?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Franco?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, passes 3-0. Consent item C, as in Charles, was asked to be pulled by Milt. Are there any other, and if not?
Move to approve with item C pulled.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We call the roll, please.
Councilmember Abra?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Franco?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, they all pass with a 3-0. Item C is proclamation of local emergency and response continuing unsheltered homeless crisis. I will open it to the public.
Yes, Milt Treeweiler. First, I want to share a quote. It's not my quote, but I want to share it. When I tell you that I feed the poor, you call me a saint. When I tell you the poor need food to eat, you call me a communist. Think about that, because that's true here in Turlock. There's this double standard thing where we even had someone tonight speak about these evil, homeless, mentally ill people. They are not evil, homeless, mentally ill people. They are people who are mentally ill and homeless. But directly related to this consent item, I've been told that the reason for this local emergency in response to a continuing unsheltered homeless crisis is in place, but because the 2 shelters on Broadway have been filled to capacity. And yet, I have not found any proof that these shelters are filled to capacity every night. So I still have the same question. What is the reason for the continuation of this emergency proclamation? I want the true facts. Is it because we're getting money from somewhere that we couldn't get if we weren't doing this? Is it because we get to keep the cameras in the parks and it's paying for them? I don't understand the reason for this emergency proclamation when the reason I've been told is not verifiable. It's not factual. These shelters are not filled every night. So let's just get some true answers here and be candid with everyone. Thank you.
Anyone else?
The room cleared out.
Food's gone.
Yeah, that's the reason why. Okay, I actually thought that one of the reasons the city attorney gave for the proclamation, the local emergency, is it allows We Care and Turlock Gospel Mission to do more things, to have the overflow. If I'm incorrect, please correct me. I also think that's how we were able to have kennels for pets at Turlock Gospel Mission. Am I correct on that? Okay. And then if this is not applicable, just let me know, Madam Mayor. So I have, I believe this is relative, the daily report of beds available that we get from the county, the number of beds at We Care and Turlock Gospel Mission. The We Care report for the past 4 months has always shown 4 beds available. I mean, that's not realistic. Every single day, there's just 4 beds available. Okay. With Turlock Gospel Mission, in the springtime, they were around 5 or 6 beds available in the overflow. And then it suddenly dropped to 20, and then now it's been around 35 or something like that. So I'm kind of wondering, I was hoping maybe the Turlock Gospel Mission guy would be here this week, but maybe not. We could get an explanation for what happened. Why did all of a sudden 35 people disappear? Well, I mean, you know, from the, you know what I mean. Okay, and yeah, so that's basically it. I think we really would like to be able to get accurate numbers so that we can really understand, you know, the situation of what is happening at the shelters. And if we can get a little bit more information about what happened at Turlock Gospel Mission, that would be nice too. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, let's close public comment and bring it back. I think some of it comes to you, Mr. Petrolakis.
Really?
Yeah. You're the attorney, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm not the public policy analyst. I mean, I'll say it again. I mean, the local emergency provides, it's primarily Turlock Gospel Mission that have availed themselves of the flexibility to go above their 49 beds, I think, to 80 beds. Yep. And so that's the increased capacity. I would say that's the major benefit of the local emergency. It allows them to operate in that fashion. I don't know about, I sometimes get the daily report. I don't think I get it every day. So I can't speak to the numbers particularly. I think it does have, the emergency has some of the collateral benefits that Mr. Bridegroom suggested, or possibly has some of the collateral benefits like kennels and things like that, but I can't say right now if any of that's being used. What I know primarily is the 49 to 80 beds at Turlock Gospel Mission, which gives us a little more capacity.
Chief, did you want to elaborate?
No, I think he covered it in terms of the bed capacity. It allows zoning flexibility, but Ron, you're not wrong in that. I had the same concern. I've been meaning to connect with them. I need to get over to the day center as well. I owe them a meeting, so that's on my list to ask as well, because I did notice that deviation. The problem with this is if we ended the emergency, we could effectively lose 31 bed spaces that were being used at one point, and I don't know what the specific anomaly is, but that is also a problem for me noted.
I would just like to make a comment that, this often gets pulled off of our consent calendar, and there's often questions about the need for it. And I would like just to point out for the record that, staff has been addressing those in the staff report. The language is changing each time to become more specific based on public comment, based on conversations you and I have had, to really try to put a finer point on what this is about. I will say that just from the public, nomenclature standpoint, saying if you have an emergency, you think that you're gonna have urgent action on that. So there's some language confusion here. And so I hope with that, I know that everyone in city staff is dealing with homelessness issues all the time. I'm hoping that we can see more policy things coming forward for us to really be taking action that goes along with this emergency declaration. But with that, I will move to approve this item.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Abram.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Franco.
Yes.
Mayor Bublak.
Yes, it passes 3-0. Final readings. The second and final reading related to the public parks hours. I'll open it to the public. Turlock Journal doesn't want to talk about it? I'll close with the public comment and bring it back.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Abram.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Franco.
Yes.
Mayor Bublak.
Yes, it passes 3-0. Mr. Wilson?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, I'd like to pull item 7A under public hearings. I'd like to pull 7B under public hearings. I'd like to pull 8A under action items. I'll bring them back at a later date. Beg your pardon?
December or later?
I'm going to try for December.
How about trying to get a couple more people here? Okay, with that, let's move to the city manager report. Okay, let me open 7A. Anybody want to speak on 7A? Seven B. Let me close 7A first. Okay, now we're going to open 7B. Anybody want to speak on that? Okay, oh, yes, no? I wasn't sure if you were going for 8. I didn't know if you were going to 8, and I wasn't sure if you wanted that.
Oh, well, no, I don't know if you can explain a little bit more about why they're being pulled, or if you want to send me an email later or whatever. I know 7A, 7B, we had public meetings about that, so I'm just curious. That's all. Okay.
I'm glad
Anybody
to
else?
send you an email.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll close 7B and open 8A. Okay, closing 8B and going to number 9, city manager report updates.
I have two items tonight. One's from the Development Services Project List Overview, Director Quintero, followed by the HR Department's project list by Director Dami.
Great.
Good evening, council and members of the public. Tonight is to give an overview of some of the project list items that are in for the Development Services Department. So I'm not going to speak to every item on the list, but to give kind of a high-level overview. The one item that we're diligently working on in the Housing Division is the update as well as writing of new policies and procedures for our various funding sources. So we are in contract with Cloudburst and are meeting with them regularly on reviewing and updating those policies and procedures, and hope to have those documents to bring forward to council for review in January. We are also working on creation of material to hope to have a workshop with council in January to go over all of the various funding sources that are managed by the Housing Division, and then to go over all of the eligible uses for that funding, to get feedback from the council and the community on, if there's other things we should be looking at or how we should move forward with all of those funding sources. So again, looking to provide that overview in January, to also then start the conversation of priorities as we move to start preparing the next year's annual action plan. So to start the conversation early on to get feedback from the community. We are in the process of preparing an application for the MORE grant. This item will be looking to bring to council, plan is for in December, to get authorization to see if council and the community wants to move forward with applying for that grant. We are also, as in the Building Division, in the process of preparing an RFP to go out to look to get new permitting software. So the department, is really looking at ways that we can improve our service to internal and external customers, ways that we can look at expediting processes. So we think software is definitely one of those components, looking for something that has more of an external facing component that an applicant can log in and understand exactly where they are in the permitting process, as well as some more automated routing and reminders of timelines to try to make sure things move more efficiently through the system. So we are working on a scope for that. The Building Division is heading that. There are multiple departments that utilize the permitting software, so it could potentially touch multiple departments and looking at changes in permitting software. But the Building Division is heading and looking at the criteria that we want to get something that will be an improvement. We're also working in the Building Department on, we was brought to council some time ago for a grant for something that's called Solar App. This is a permitting system that would, for solar permits specifically, that really automates the complete permitting and plan check process when it comes to solar. So looking at getting that software up and running, working with IT and finance on the particulars of the final setup so that we can make sure we can get the payments in and everything in a seamless fashion. We in planning have been doing updates to our accessory dwelling unit ordinance. There have been multiple changes in state laws that relate to accessory dwelling units, and so we're working on updating our ordinance plan for that to go to Planning Commission in the beginning of December, and then bring forward for council consideration to update the municipal code to keep us in compliance with state law. And then the planning division is still working with our consultant on the update to the housing element. So I'm happy to answer any questions or.
Questions?
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about the same-day permitting and the over-the-counter permits and then the TI, the tenant improvement Tuesdays?
Sure. So we're in the building division looking at kind of multiple ways that we can improve the permitting process and look at turnaround time. So the first item that we're looking at are the permits that can be issued, same day. The application we have a current list of permits that are issued same day. We're also looking at potential proposals for staffing changes to bring forward for council consideration, and ways that we could expand what types of permits could be issued same day. And then, continue moving forward. Then from there, looking at what the idea with the tenant improvement Tuesday would be larger projects that have not been handled over the counter, looking at a way that in the various departments that are involved in plan review, the design professional having a set time to come in, meet directly with all of the staff that does plan check their project within that hour time frame of meeting, with the hope that if the review and comments are minor enough that the design professional could redline those plans right then and ultimately get to a permit that's issued that day.
Other questions?
The ADU, the accessory dwelling units. Are we thinking about having some standard plans that people can just look at on site, on our website, pull them off, get a professional to change them as needed? I know a lot of other cities are doing that.
So we did partner with several other cities in the county with some of our SB2 grant funding, and hired an architect. So we do have standard ADU plans. I think there are 6 different versions that we're working to get up on our website. But yes, essentially, someone can, if they want to utilize those plans, they don't have to have any plans prepared other than a site plan to show where it will be, and then essentially that project is permitted and approved. So we have that, and we are working towards getting them out and more easily accessible.
Yeah. Okay, so planning on putting it on the website, social media, to let everyone know that we are improving our permitting process and we have these ADU plans available.
Yes, definitely been talking with Anthony and working on my posture for videos and things to get information
Videos are
out there. It's a little nerve-wracking, but it's a great way to let people know what we're doing. So yeah, we'll be working closely with economic development on, and our staff on ways that we can improve our process, and then getting the word out of what we have available.
And you said you were going to be looking to bring back to council some staffing changes. Anything that we should know about ahead of time?
Potentially looking at, in the building division, if there are positions that could be considered to be added, for the budget that would help cut down on our processing timelines. So, have some ideas of some additional staffing that if brought on could cut down timelines for processing. So look to partner with our finance department and bring something forward for council consideration, as well as working with the HR department. We have a few positions that have been out in recruitment and vacant for some time, and when we go out have not been successful or have a very limited candidate pool. So looking at those, job descriptions and potential salary scales of how those compare to understand there's changes that we can make to be up with the times and compete for the employees that we need.
Couple questions. We had spoken, a group of us on Thursday, and so either I misunderstood or I kind of thought we were gonna see a green sheet change here, because my understanding, and I'm not a builder, is same-day permitting is same-day permitting. And then you had talked about a plan checker that was necessary for the Tuesday, but that they only work Wednesday and Thursday or Monday and Wednesday. So I thought it was gonna be tweaked a little bit to make it more effective. If you need the plan checker for the, Improvement Tuesday, then they're two different things technically, and so that the public wasn't gonna get confused, but maybe I misunderstood?
So the tenant improvement Tuesday, our plan for staffing that, we have an agreement with our contract, a different plan check company through CSG that would have someone available remotely on Tuesdays that we could implement that if that was the desire. And so this, we're kind of, after meeting Thursday, we're looking at focusing more on the same-day permits and then working, towards the implementation of something larger like the tenant improvement Tuesday. So we did have a plan and a way that we could implement the Tuesday project if that was council's desire sooner than later, but it would be through the building plan check staff would be by Zoom remoting in on the electronic plans through our consultant plans examiner. At this time, we wouldn't have someone in person, but we could have someone available remotely through that agreement.
And the tenant improvement Tuesday doesn't necessarily get done that same day, so it's not same-day permitting, correct?
It would depend on what the plan check comments are. I mean, the goal would be that with having the architect there, that then for the architect's approvals, items could be redlined. So if there's minor changes, revisions, or clarification right there, they could make those modifications on that plan set, and then we could approve and issue the permit the same day. If there was something significant that needed to be addressed, then the architect would have to, go with those plan check comments, so it would be at a minimum the same day plan checking, and then an expedited turnaround when they sent those back in. If there were corrections that were larger than what the architect could do right there to redline those plans.
And then the Moore grant, can you share with the public what that is? Because I think
Oh, sure.
it kind of just sounds like a grant.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. So the Moore grant is funding that is available through the state of California through HCD. It is funding that would be specific to rehabilitation and or replacement of mobile home units. So it would be funding that would look to be administered through loans or grants that could allow for rehabilitation and, if warranted, even replacement of mobile home units.
So then the Moore grant is something that is new, and everything that we had talked about previously about the mobile home parks is not gonna happen right now, correct?
If their council desires and additional funding is moved in home funding for rehabilitation, there is the potential to use home funding for mobile home rehab if it meets the home criteria. CDBG is not an eligible funding, but home could be an eligible expense for mobile home rehab. So if, that was something council desired, we could modify and move funding there in rehab to use home, in conjunction with the more funding if that was awarded.
Okay, let's open it to public. Anyone wishing to ask some questions? Okay, yeah, I didn't see you. And you go so quick.
So thanks for asking about the Moore grant. I had the same question. Hopefully this is relative. Any news on housing department manager? The search for that? Also, have you gotten input from the public on permitting issues especially from people who work with different cities and what they experience, at other cities, suggestions that they might have. And then for that MORE grant, so you mentioned that possibly the home funds could maybe be used for mobile homes. And what, that's like January or March? Are we gonna know about the MORE grant by that time frame? Because you talked about maybe, yeah, so you understand my question?
I do.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I'm just a little bit curious because I don't recall that we had public comment at this particular time before. There were several times I wanted to speak on issues in this particular bracket, and I don't recall us doing that, so I wondered when this change took place where now we have comments, and I like that idea, but I think we have to be consistent. If we're going to do it every time the city manager gives reports, then the public should be able to come up and comment on them. So if we're consistent, I'm fine with it. If it's selective, I'm against it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, close the public comment, coming back in housing position.
We have a recruitment, we're working with the HR department and hope to have the position filled soon. And then input from the public on permitting issues and suggestions. I'm always asking people, developers, builders, for items. We haven't done anything formally recently to go out, but that is a good idea and something that we could do, to look for more formal suggestions, items, or issues. We did do, as part of the housing element, a survey of applicants for accessory dwelling units, but that was looking very specifically at a reason. We've seen a trend up in applications for accessory dwelling units, but the permits are not being pulled, so we did a survey to try to understand what the barriers or issues were. But yeah, we can look at something wider, absolutely. And then, will we know about the MORE grant before March or April? I don't know. It's really subject to HCD's review time and approval, and some grants that we have applied for HCD, we've gotten a very quick turnaround and notice, and some have taken a very long time to hear, so we'll be subject to their review time.
I think that the MORE grant, for me, I found out a couple months ago that what we were going towards was the mobile home park that we're trying to hit for the summer, so it was hot. Now winter, we're gonna miss. I think the public heard about the general contractors, and we sent out something, hey, can you help us with this? Then the public had seen the questionnaire. So the MORE grant is totally different, and we're not gonna do what we talked about, so I think maybe we should tell the public a little bit, like, why, because it has to be, they have to own the land under it or something to that, because otherwise, they're seeing us moving towards something, and then we divert and go somewhere else, and it doesn't. I think that's why this matrix, and every one of the directors will kind of present stuff so that we can tell them where we're at.
Sure, so with the home funds, if we look to make that move, mobile home rehab could be eligible. CDBG has the requirement for ownership of the land, so it would not be eligible in the current programs that we have for rehabilitation. The survey that we did would be used for data to show support and need as part of the MORE grant application. And then, in looking at, widening the contractor list was really to look at for rehabilitation citywide, be it funded through CDBG or home, and looking at trying to expand, the list of contractors that are utilized for rehabilitation projects.
Yeah, going back to the home funds, what do we need to do to change the usage so that we could use the home funds for the mobile rehabs?
We would need to amend the current year's annual action plan to move additional funds into the rehab category.
And just for clarification, that was one of the items that was on the agenda today that got pulled?
Yes, so I'll be work with the city manager to bring that item back for council consideration.
So 7A was the one that would have allowed the mobile home funding from the home consortium to, or let me say that again. Home funds to be used for rehabilitation, and an eligible use is for mobile homes, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Jesse, so if anybody watches The Voice when they do the bidding on getting their singers, I'm just reading Isaac Moreno's finance director, and it says, the finance development department is currently fully staffed. They usually announce how they're fully staffed. That's pretty good. Very appreciative of that. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, City staff, and the public. My name is Jessie Dahmy, Director of Human Relations Department. It is a privilege to be before you this evening, and I appreciate the opportunity to share some of our department's key areas of concentration at the forefront today. Here is a picture of our, of our amazing team. The HR team is a group of hardworking, dedicated, and compassionate professionals. This city is very fortunate to have such a diversified human relations team. My objective this evening is to provide you a high-level overview regarding the department, discuss our mission statement, our department goals, but most importantly, discuss our current key projects. As the organization chart illustrates, HR is staffed with a total of 8 personnel, 2 full-time and 2 part-time staff. We are excited as we will be adding an intern to the team at the beginning of next week. Our department goals. The department goal is to utilize modern technology to streamline current practice and provide a quicker turnaround and real-time updates. Our mission statement for the department is for the HR team to create an environment that attracts, cultivates, and retains quality workforce. As of today, our restructured department is responsible for managing 630 paid employees, which make up 382 full-time and 252 part-time employees. In fiscal year 2023-2024, the city has allocated 430 budgeted positions based on our contingent job offers in the pipeline, and our vacancy rate is expected to be under 11% by the end of November. What makes HR unique as a department is we provide internal customer service to city departments, city employees, and external service to the general public. We are a centralized HR department, and what that means is all personnel matters related to employment, benefit administration, labor negotiations, contract administration, workers' comp, leaves is all managed by our department. In addition, the department is responsible to ensure salary administration, payroll is processed accurately and in a timely manner. Our department is responsible to manage the security access of city facilities, and most importantly, we maintain confidentiality. We maintain confidential records related to city business, such as recruitments, personnel files, medical files, to name a few. So this is a copy of the list that was provided in the agenda packet, and I'm just going to highlight on some of those, and sorry, it's hard to read. I'll begin with biweekly payroll. We initiated this project in February of this year, and the anticipation completion date was October of this year, and we successfully accomplished that. October 20th was the first payday where city staff received their first biweekly paycheck. The reason for this project was we had purchased a software program, New World, back in don't quote me, I believe 2012, 2013, but we weren't able to utilize the software at its full usage because we were on a semi-monthly payroll system. Switching over to biweekly now allows us to do less manual data entry, and so we're excited, and I know the team worked really hard. The next item I've highlighted is the compensation study. We projected the start date of this project to be in June. Council approved it this year, and the anticipation completion date was October. The consultant did provide us the preliminary results of the study in October, and it is in progress to be presented at the December council meeting. The next item I have for you is the is payroll and recruitments, selection and onboarding and offboarding. That's ongoing, so that's just part of our job. Trainings is similar, so trainings was actually reintroduced to the department in February of this year. We have taken that responsibility, and the trainings depend on the departments and positions, but at this time we've provided some citywide trainings such as sexual harassment training, disaster worker awareness training, and there's many more in the pipeline. Classification study. So as part of what council had approved in April of this year was the comp study and the classification study. And we are anticipating to move forward with the classification study following the comp study. So that will be in December is our anticipated start date, and our anticipated completion date is April of 2024. We are currently working with our consultant regarding logistics and dates. The next item I've highlighted is the personnel rules and regs. This has been an ongoing policy, but it does require a lot of meet and confer, and it's in progress. We are actually coming to the finalization stages, and we'll be emailing out the final draft policy out to the labor groups in the next couple of weeks. The next item I've highlighted is the paperless onboarding and offboarding. This is a project that we have worked on and then had to put a pause to it due to other priorities. We plan to reinitiate this project in January of 2024 and anticipate a completion date of March. This will again allow us to go paperless with our onboarding process and offboarding. If any of you have seen our orientations, they're 3-inch binders. They're not fun for our new hires, so we are excited about going paperless on that. The last two items I've highlighted in this chart is our guided bus tour. We implemented this in late 2022, and it has been a success. It's been exciting to watch not only new hires but current employees join the guided tour and get a better understanding of what our city does as an organization. Also opens up opportunities for city staff, to seek employment and grow within the city. Lastly, I have the Employee of the Month program. So this program has recently died down, but what we are doing is HR is now chairing this program, and a committee has been developed. We decided to reevaluate this program because it didn't include all of our city departments as we've grown. So we are excited to see what this program brings, and you'll see most likely a new policy and program in place come, I believe I had this lined up for March. So we had our initial meetings, and come March, we should have a new program and new employees of the month. Or we might change it, not have it monthly, be quarterly. We're still looking into that. All right, and any questions?
Question? All right, let's open it to the public. You have a question? Come up to the mic. Nothing?
They have all peak.
Oh, yeah. the last act of Captain Salvador. Anybody else? Questions? Okay, thank you for that. Council items for future consideration. Council comments and announcements?
Yes, just a few. I'm sure my other colleagues will talk about some of these things, but thank you to Public Works staff and the American Legion and the Girl Scouts and everyone who was there for the Veterans Day ceremony. That was lovely, so thank you. And then the SRWA ribbon cutting was today. I was very pleased to be able to join, and congratulations to everyone who was involved in that very, very long process. And I just wanted to say a thank you to our public safety staff, our officers, and our firefighters who made stops at the schools for Red Ribbon Week. I happened to be there as a parent volunteer one of the days that you stopped off on one of the sites. And as you know, I'm sure you made, a whole bunch of kids' day by being there. So thank you for being out in the community.
Yeah, that Red Ribbon Week was fun. I was at your daughter's school, so that was a lot of fun. So I took the bus tour last time it was given, and that was a lot of great information. And so thank you to the HR department. Thank you to all the departments that gave us the tour and gave us the description of everything they did, especially the wastewater treatment plant. It is eye-opening and nasal opening. We know you get to know a lot about the wastewater in the city of Turlock. But the good news is 99% of our water is recycled. So there we go. We got that. Yes, thank you on the Veterans Day celebration. It was wonderful. Thank you for everybody that served in our military. This is going to be the only meeting this month, so have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Don't forget about our Christmas tree lighting. That's going to be on the 24th of November at 5 o'clock at the park. And also, it's the same day as Small Business Saturday, so please try Turlock first. If you can find it from a small business here, that would be wonderful. Help your friends and family help their small businesses during our Christmas season. And our Christmas parade is December 1st at 6:30. So
Aloha.
Yes, Christmas luau. Christmas luau. So wear your Hawaiian garb and a lot of warm clothes, because it usually is a little chilly out there. And then we'll see you on next meeting on the 12th of December.
Huge shout out to all staff for the Veterans Day. And they had to break up their 3-day weekend to come in and set that up. It was a great show of force. Director Fisher, amazing job today. You just got here and you already had to start everything up. That was a good event. I've spent 15 of the 30 years that it took on that board. So I have a little teeny piece of commitment to that felt good today. And in an effort to talk about what the project lists were, Milt, each of them was going to bring it. I actually thought it was going to be a briefing at the beginning. So when we go over the agenda, I don't see where it lines up, but I would rather it be at the beginning so that the directors can have that conversation and everything. So because it was already there, I just kept my mouth shut. But those will be at the beginning. 2 directors probably per to show everybody what they're working on, be braggadocious about how they're getting stuff done, and just everybody have an idea what's going on. Other than that, we have no closed session, and we have our next meeting on December 12th. So thank you all, and be safe tonight, and have a happy Thanksgiving.